This is the Nightwolf howling at you, and today we're going to take a look at the Masters of the Universe X ThunderCats Battle Catman figure, the most powerful cat in the universe. And of course, this is Battle Cat if he became human. And you know what? There's been a lot of people who've wanted this version of Battle Cat for a long time, whether or not it was ThunderCats or not. And I kind of wonder if this is one of the reasons why they decided to do this crossover line, was just so that they could have an excuse to create Battle Catman. But we'll have to see how he turns out. And if we look at the back of the box, we see him fighting Beastman. And Beastman kind of looks like he's going for the monkeying look, actually, there. So this could be interesting. And finally, we're going to see some of the villain characters in Thundarian mode. After the destruction of Thundara, Battle Catman crashed on Eternia and now proudly protects his adopted home world. Battle Catman, the most powerful cat in the universe. You can attach the claws to the wrists. As part of this wave, we have Lino, the Lord of the ThunderCats, and Chitara, the fastest feline in the universe. And of course, Battle Catman, who we're just talking about now, the most powerful cat in the universe. Yeah, the artwork back here does look pretty cool though overall. I do like it. Well, let's go ahead and open them up, shall we? That was indeed a very ugly cut. Alright, so I'm going to say right now, his joints feel looser than what I like. His ankles here are very, very loose, especially compared to a lot of the figures recently. So I don't know if I don't really like that. Let's go ahead and put him on a stand for the moment. Goy. Stay. Good cat. So basically you just end up with a naked Battle Catman if you take all of his stuff off. And it looks like he's wearing just a WWE style diaper then at that point. So this is probably a figure you're not going to be pulling too much off of. Although it's too bad they didn't come with a specific harness for him to be like in Eternian mode. Like, just switching out the two harnesses would have probably worked. Because everybody wanted Battle Catman, right? Well, not everybody, but a lot of people wanted a Battle Catman. So why not go ahead and just give us a plain Eternian harness for him to go with the ThunderCats harness. But of course, he comes with our comic book, Eternia. You know what? I'm really looking forward to hearing He-Man's story at this point. Crash, boom, rumble. Skeletor calls upon the ancient spirits of evil to grant him the ever-living power, and he will do their bidding, because all he wants is the power to defeat He-Man. The ancient spirits of evil decide to help Skeletor, transferring the Black Pyramid from Third Earth to Third Eternia. However, Lino, Lord of the ThunderCats, is awoken by the Eye of Thundara, meaning that there's some kind of danger. So he calls out,
"Sword of Omens, give me sight beyond sight."
And there he sees Tigra was trapped in the Black Pyramid as it transferred. And now he's a captive. So Panthro, Chitara, and Lino board their ship to head to Third Eternia to rescue Tigra and defeat the Black Pyramid once and for all again. Unfortunately, they apparently don't know how to land and crash and burn. Saying something about gravitational readings being off the chart, so that seems kind of silly. Lino makes the call.
Thunder! 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 ThunderCats! Ha!
Getting Tiger's attention, letting him know that he is near to saving his friend. But that's not all. He-Man shows up.
Hello friends, this is Odd.
And while the ThunderCats are leery of this stranger... Wait a minute, hold on. At least I hope your friends landing on our planet wielding a weapon as powerful as the one you hold. Okay. I get it now, never mind. Just the way it was worded, I was like, I thought he was supposed to say as powerful as my own. But no, okay, I get it. But they do have a bit of a discussion, and because they're all Thundarians, they decide to team up and go save Tigra from the Black Pyramid. Before they can get there, Skeletor lays out his plans to combine the Sword of Omens with the He-Man's Power Sword in order to create the ultimate weapon. And then he transforms into Skelrod, the ever-living. And of course, as before, Lino, Lord of the ThunderCats, Chitara, the fastest feline in the universe, and Battle Cat Man, the most powerful cat in the universe. So let's take a look at our Battle Cat Man right now. Alright, I've already mentioned that his joints feel very, very loose. Even the knees are looser than I'm used to. I don't know. I wonder if that has something to do with the way they pack him in there, because they were trying to angle him so that he looked more like a feline legs. But if you're going to make him into a man, why bother doing that? I don't know. I just do not like the way his legs feel. His helmet does come off to give us a nice little pretty view of his face. The sculpt actually looks pretty good. I have to admit, to a certain extent, I kind of wanted him to only have one tooth like Cringer. I wonder if they'll give us a Cringer version of him. Like, if we have a Prince Adam for He-Man, will we have a Cringer to go with him for Battle Cat Man? That'd be pretty awesome, actually. His armor definitely references his armor from the original toy with all the spikes on it. And, of course, the color scheme. Now, you're supposed to clip this onto his wrist. But I'd like to point out that... Holy shit, it broke! Unreal. Because you can't really put this on his wrist. It's got to go around his hand, in which case they should have just made it a hand, put a handheld on there. But now I can't do anything with this one because it broke. Seriously, just trying to put it on him. That's garbage construction for you. So that's just Battle Cat Man with his one weapon then. But at least you can still get the spin with it. But let's go ahead and talk about his articulation real fast. He can look down and up, sideways, up and down. The ball joint in his head works just as any other ball joint does. We can hinge his arm up. The pauldron kind of shifts with that, and then down. Spin it. We have the hinge at the elbow with a pin, so we can do a little bit of, well, I don't want to say what that looks like right now. Spin the hand and in and out articulation, much like the other hand. We can do a 360 at the waist. However, the loincloth and belt does sit up there. Let's see if we can pull it down a bit. There we go. We can pull it down to where it's down underneath his waist swivel. We can, of course, kick forward only about that far, which I feel like that's less than what we've been getting with these things. And we can barely kick back at all. The knee bends at like less than 90. Again, normal for these. There is a pin in there so that we can spin it too. And again, very loose. The boot cut, not as loose. And the ankle, very loose. He's got a really heavy-duty foot going on there. So if you've got a foot fetish, this is another one of those figures for you. But yeah, all of our standard articulation is there. And here's how he looks without anything on. I definitely prefer him with the armor. I was kind of hoping they'd have some paint on the forearms too, but they didn't. There's no painting on the back either, which they really should have the stripes back there as well at the very least. Some additional striping here on the back would have been, on the back of the shoulders too, would have been nice as well. Of course, these are all brand new sculpts. Of course, the only thing we have that we can really compare him to is Battle Cat himself. Surprisingly, they matched up the colors pretty well between the Origins Battle Cat and this Catman version. Never really realized that Battle-Cat's eyes aren't actually painted white. They're just that green, and that's kind of screwy looking. Thank. Okay, so you guys had to know that this was coming as soon as I took out the Battle-Cat for comparison, right? So overall in this figure, I think he looks pretty cool. I do think they should have given us an additional harness just to put him in like Eternian gear. If they're going to do that for the ThunderCats, to have kind of Eternian version and normal version, and I think they're doing that with He-Man as well, I don't see any reason why they couldn't have just done another cool looking harness to make a Battle-Cat into full Eternian. It's unfortunate, however, that the claw weapon broke like it did. I can't believe that happened. I'll have to get some kind of replacement for it. So that means, actually, so I got a Lion-O whose hand was deformed, and now I've got a claw weapon that broke the instant I tried to put it on. So that's something to remember if you do get this figure, is to make sure that those claws, you're very careful when you put them on so they don't snap. I guess I would say that it's too bad they didn't design it so it hooked on to the arm gauntlet there, that giant-ass arm gauntlet. But maybe the reason why they did that was so that you could still spin the claw a bit. So I can kind of understand that, but maybe there could have been a better way to do that with like an actual handle for it as well. Because it's not like you're going to have him holding a weapon with those things. But I do think overall, Battle-Cat Man looks pretty cool. I think he's going to be a great part of this collection. So far, I have not really been disappointed in the actual designs for these. At least not the ones I've gotten so far. Again, from what I've seen of Panthro, I haven't been too impressed with that yet. But maybe when I have them in hand, I'll like them better. Aside from some of the quality control issues, I think the overall line is pretty good right now. But why don't you guys go ahead and tell me what you think? And you can do so in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please feel free to like the smash button. And of course, if you want to hear more of my nonsense, you can subscribe and set notifications, I guess.